All right, so let's talk about weekend cheating. If you've been listening to my podcast for a while, my whole shtick is Monday through Friday, super clean, on point, no alcohol. Friday nights, a possibility. I try not to. And then for the weekends, that's my fun. So I go off the diet a little bit, eat some bad food, but mostly my problem is socializing, having some alcohol, going out with my buddies, and going to breweries, that kind of stuff. So I just wanted to put out there all the ways, whether you're on the drinking side, the foodie side, sweets only side. Here's all my hacks for everything that has been really working. Before I begin, I'd just like to point out that I just started a new Facebook group for over 40 fitness hacks, and I'll put the link in my show notes if you're interested. This is just a way I can connect with my community and see if people have any other questions that they'd like to hear episodes on, hear what other like minded individuals are doing over 40, and also just for motivation purposes. Once again, I'll have that link in the show notes. Let's continue on with the episode. So, first and foremost, on weekends or whatever your days off are for your cheat days, well, I always recommend, if you're doing 5 clean days, you can get away with 2 cheat days if you have a good program behind you, you're exercising. If it's a little low on that side, then maybe only 1 cheat day. You're more than welcome to be clean 7 days a week. But I imagine if you're listening to my podcast, I'm the personal trainer that refuses to give up his social life. That's the reason you're watching me. So I assume all of you out there are doing something, have fun. We got to, it's just part of life. So, what do I do on the weekends? It's been working. Well, number one is having protein as early as you can and as low calorie as you can. So, having a big meal, eggs, bacon, all that kind of stuff is not really on the list for me because they're just too high calories. And even though you're messing with stuff on the weekends, it's still a calorie in, calorie out game. So if you want protein to spare your muscle and you probably worked out on Friday, you want to keep the lean muscle tissue building and going. Basically, just a protein shake and as much protein as you can handle. I typically have 50 grams of protein in a shake for me because I'm around 200 pounds. And on a normal day, I would add in some olive oil, some fiber, all this kind of stuff. And basically, I would just take the protein shake straight up, nothing else, no other meal part of it, no almond milk, anything, and keeping the calories to like 150, 200 calories. And then for me, that's it. I will then fast all the way through the rest of the day, black coffee only, until the social time. I always try to plan stuff to where I'm not really having anything until 2 p.m., 3 p.m. if I can push it. Sometimes you can't make that happen because there's a lunch that people are going out to. And of course, I'm going to want to have a beer there. If you're already starting, you might as well just go down the thing. And so remember, I've talked about alcohol specifically, being empty calories. And not only that, but anytime you start ingesting alcohol, the whole process of breaking down that alcohol down to acetate or whatever the compound that you've searched on Google for, because I've seen a million different names, but it's the byproduct of your body trying to get rid of this toxin. And you will use that energy first before any other thing, fat, protein. And not only that, any of those food items go right into your fat storage, or for the most part. So it's not to say that once you start having some alcohol, having some fun, you don't want to not eat, because you have to eat, and also it fills up your belly and slows down the whole process. But I will only eat meat and veggies pretty much, which is mostly low carb with a tiny bit of fruit and some carbs throughout the week. But I go real hardcore low carb to compensate for all that. Now, if you're on the sweet side, I would say the same thing. Get your protein in the morning, fast as long as you can. However, for the sweets, since they are high in calories and it's going to be real hard to calorie count that, I would prefer that being done prior to 2 p.m. and maybe 3 p.m. And maybe that is your cutoff. Like you went to a lunch party, hopefully it's in the middle of the day. You had your sweets and then stop and then fast the rest of the day. Because having those sweets earlier, your body has a chance to burn those off before you go to bed. And then if you're doing both, then just calorie counting, just try to take little bits of sweets, tiny bites of everything. Then don't eat a huge meal or a meal at all. Maybe protein shakes are your only course while you survive all this. And to tell you the truth, the main thing for people who drink alcohol a lot, water is more important than filling up your belly with carbs and fiber, although it helps. Water is really what you want in your body in volume to help dilute that so you don't get too crazy at your grandma's birthday party on Saturday. So for the alcohol drinkers out there, for people who want to slow down, which I have actually started doing, some of the cool products that I've used are, switching to something else like THC, but I'm not a huge fan of that because I just feel too dumb and paranoid. But there's products out there that have CBD and other terpenes, which are basically strains of hemp plants that have different effects. And then you can dose it appropriately to how you feel, which basically is microdosing. But it has the CBD. Sometimes some of them have a little bit of caffeine in it and some other herbals. And you just start testing some of those. And oh my God. So to start doing that, I could be drinking a beer for like 2 hours, just sipping on it because I'm just in a good place of mind. That CBD is really calming my body down. But no, that's just one method. Another one is adaptogens. There's all these products out there like Recess or Kin is a real cool one with a real crazy flavor that, it's not something that you want to just drink to pound. It's more of just getting a taste in there and enjoying the experience, but it's not good enough to sit there and chug, which actually works for you because you have something in your hand. You can drink on something. Some of those products have a little bit of CBD in it. And that's the other thing. I went to Windmill Farms and they have a whole slew of CBD products for drinks in various ranges. At some point, maybe you feel too sleepy, but some have a little kick of caffeine in it. But there's so much out there to just try. And for me, it's definitely cutting down my alcohol consumption on the weekends, or at least for one of the days. Now, for the sweet side of people who just can't stop eating, you got to pick and choose what you're going to be buying for the party or wherever you're going socially or restaurant. Maybe pick a restaurant where it has little mini type desserts. But you just got to get in that habit of taking just bites of stuff, not the whole plate. Maybe share it with the whole table. Drinking a ton of water while you're doing it because it's going to fill you up. And then just consciously know how many calories you're having. Like, oh man, I just pounded this entire pumpkin pie. Maybe then you're like, well, the only option now for dinner is just a 100-calorie protein shake. So you just start thinking like that. And you don't want to not have the things you want on the weekends. But if you can start just getting these little tips and tricks to help cut basically the calories down, then all of a sudden you come on a Monday morning or whatever your day off is with a good weigh-in, you had fun, and now you're back on the program to hopefully by Friday or whatever the end of the year week is, be in a lower weight class than you were before. And that's kind of how I do it. So my goal as I'm recording this was I got to weigh in on a Monday at 207. Or this morning when I woke up, got on that scale, I was 207.1. Perfect, right where I want to be. And I'll probably hit a new record for this Friday. And for those of you who've been listening for a while, I've been doing a little habit building weight loss challenge from January to July 4th. So I only got basically less than a month now where I'm really trying to tighten up my game to get down to my goal weight. And it's working. So the only other things that help me, and most I like in my fasting game, which could help you on weekends until you start having fun. What can you do? Chewing gum helps, tiny bit of calories in there, but just gives you something to do that you're not looking for snacks. Apple cider vinegar with a little bit of water, tiny bit of honey. Google that for how much to use because everyone's different. You want to make sure you don't have any type of reaction to the apple cider vinegar. But that has been a great appetite suppressant for me, for a lot of my clients. It worked great. And other than that, just keep them busy. If you're worried about hitting the pantry or hitting the bottle too early, or, why do I even have to do this for this weekend or at least one of the days? Then stay busy. Doesn't have to be work, but like have things planned that you're going to do stuff. And then just tell yourself, I've got to complete all these tasks and go to all these things on a Saturday. And then when I get home, then I can start having fun. You may have so much fun without all this stuff and you get home and you're just tired. You're like, nah, I'll wait till the next day. And bam, look what you just did. You're going to have a record-breaking Monday. And one last final thought for any of the issues that you're having, whether it's drinking or whether it's overeating. If you can plan your Saturday or Sunday or whatever day is your day off, you're going to be doing some of these things. And you can plan it around doing a few things to where you're walking all day. Oh my God, that is the ultimate game changer because you're just burning calories as you're putting this stuff in and just make it fun. Biking as well. You could bike to places and do the same thing. But walking, I think you're going to have to walk a little farther, a little harder, and burn a little bit more calories than you are on your electric bike. So, all right. So I think I'll keep it at that. Always check out my show notes. I have a Facebook group that I started that I'm trying to get going. And I always have a Zoom link. I always do a 15-minute free consultation for everyone, just to see if I can point them in the right direction. Other than that, thanks for listening, and I'll catch you on the next.
Hey everyone, I would just like to thank each and every one of you for supporting my show. My numbers over the years have just been growing and growing on this podcast. One thing that could really help me, and something you could do as a listener, would be go onto iTunes and leave me a 5-star review. Any other podcast service like Spotify and Podchaser is also great, but iTunes is really where the magic happens for us being podcasters. Thanks again, and I'll catch you on the next episode. If you'd like a little bit of help checking out your diet and your current routine, I'd be happy to help. I always do a free 15-minute Zoom consultation for anyone, no strings attached, just to see if I can help point you in the right direction. So if you're interested, check out the show notes. The link is at the top.